بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome dear students in another lesson. This is Miss Layla Al-Jihani. Inshallah today we will continue our unit 5, lesson 3. Inshallah today we will cover the grammar. If we want to remember what we covered in our previous lesson, we did the pair work. We ask and answer questions related to inventions, page 45 and 48, and 48 and 49, sorry. Using how long, okay, and with the answers we used since and for. It's related to our grammar, as I said in our previous lesson. Inshallah, we will focus on using since and for. Also, inshallah, today by the end of the lesson, you will be able to differentiate between present perfect tense and simple past. We have two tenses, and we will know the difference between the two. We will use the present perfect with since and for in a meaningful statements. We will know how to use it in affirmative and the negative statements. Also, we will be able to formulate questions using how long. We will ask questions using how long, okay? Look at these two sentences. It's not part of your book. Focus here with me. The first sentence, I visited Russia, okay, last year. And the second sentence is, I have visited Russia. What is the difference between the two? What do you notice? Look at these two sentences. Can you tell me the difference between the two? Excellent. Here we have visited only, which is past simple. Excellent. And here we have visited. Okay. What else? Can you see another difference? Yes, here in the first sentence we have last year. And here we don't have the same phrase. Excellent. With the first sentence, we have the subject, verb in the past tense. And the second sentence, we have the subject and have, okay, and the verb 3, okay? Verb, past participle, okay? Verb 3. طيب, as we said, in the first sentence, we have, it's a past tense. We use the past tense because we have last year. Last year, when I tell you last year, yesterday, I ate yesterday. I visited my family last week. You know when I visited them, صح? You know the time. This is the difference between the two, okay? The first sentence, this one, the first sentence means that you had the experience of visiting Russia in the past, which is last year, okay? And we have the specific time. The second sentence means that you had the experience of visiting Russia in the past, but you don't know when. We don't have a specific time here in the second sentence. We don't know when, okay? It's in the past, maybe last year, last 2 years, 4 years ago, you don't know, okay? That's why we used the present perfect, okay? These examples, you can find it on your book. Open your books, page 50, okay? We have other examples using the present perfect. The first example here, have you ever been, okay, to France? The answer, yes, I've, which is the short of I have. Yes, I've been there. This is the answer. And here we have the past simple tense. When were you there? I was there 2 years ago. We have a specific time. That's why we use the past, okay? The simple past. Okay. Also here, you can find it in your book. Let's read the rest of it. Present perfect tense versus simple past, okay? We use the present perfect to talk about an action that happened in the past when the exact time isn't known or important. Sometimes we don't know the specific time, and sometimes we focus on the action more than the time. The time isn't important for us to mention the time, okay? We're focusing on the action only, okay? That's why we don't mention it, and we use the present perfect. We use the past tense when the exact time is given. When we have the time, when you see a time, yesterday, last year, when you see a time, automatically you use the past tense, okay? Let's look at the exercise on page 51. Page 51, please. Exercise D. Complete the paragraph with verbs in parentheses. So you have verbs between brackets here, okay? You have to use it either present perfect form or simple past form, okay? You can, it depends on the sentence. Read the sentence. If you see a specific time, then you use the past simple. If you can't see the time, then you use the present perfect, okay? People, and we have the verb try to keep cool or keep their food cool for ages. Do we have a time here? No. So what are we going to use here? We're using, excellent, we're using present perfect. Okay? The Chinese ice cream 4,000 years ago. Okay? We have time. So we use the simple past. Pause the video, read the whole thing, underline the times, okay? And complete the task, and then let's see the answers together, okay? So as we said, number one, we use the present perfect. People have tried to keep cool or keep their food cool for ages. The Chinese, we said here, we have a time. That's why we said past, invented ice cream 4,000 years ago. And they, here it's the continue, we are continuing the same sentence. That's why we keep the same tense. So here we are using the same. We are continuing the same thing. Kept it in snow in underground chambers, okay? So in the same sentence, we use the past tense. In Baghdad, in the 8th century, a king imported snow and put it in the walls of its summer home, of his summer home to cool the home, okay? In 18, here because we have a specific time, we use simple past. And here also we have time. So we also use the past simple. Jacob Perkins built a machine to make ice in London. The first home refrigerator appeared in the early 1920s. Since then, people, what? Do we have a time? لا. So we use the present perfect. Have preserved their food in the refrigerators about the same time. Air conditioning of large spaces became possible. Since that time, people have cooled themselves with air conditioners in stores, offices, and homes. Okay, this is how we answer exercise D. We differentiated when do we use the simple past and when do we use the present perfect. Now look at these two sentences. Which tense is it? Simple past. Excellent. I lived in Jeddah in 2010. I graduated in 2008. Okay? This is a timeline. You can see it in front of you. Here we have, here we have past, okay? And here, this line is the present, and here we have the future. خلاص? Now we are in 2020, okay? 2021, okay? So here, the year is 2010. So it's in the past, okay? And I said I lived in Jeddah in 2010. So this is the time, 2010. And also I have another sentence. I graduated in 2008. So in 2008, I graduated. This is another action. The X here, it's just to let you know that the action happened in the past and we know when did it happen. خلاص? Now let's look at these other two sentences. Here we have, I have lived here for several years. Here, which tense is it, sorry? Which tense is it? Which tense? The present? Perfect. And also here, I have lived here since 2008, okay? Maybe I still live there, okay? Maybe I will continue living there in the future, okay? So here the timeline, how do we draw it? Here we have the future, present, and we have the past, okay? How do we draw? Do we put an X, something happened and we stop? لا. When I tell you I have lived here for several years, the action started in the past, but the effect continues. Maybe I will continue living here for more years. Maybe in the future I will continue living. So we will draw it like this. Maybe it will continue in the future, okay? This is how we differentiate between the past simple and the present perfect, okay? We're talking about our experiences in the past, but the effect may, we don't mention the time, and the effect may continue. And for example, when I tell you, when you're talking about your experience in general, I have seen the snow. That means in the past, you had the experience of seeing it, okay? I have been to Mecca. Did I say when exactly? If you mention the time, if you say last year, then you can say, I went to Mecca, okay? You don't say, I have been to Mecca, okay? You say, I have been when we don't have a specific time, okay? Now, on your book, page 50, the present perfect with for and since. We use the present perfect with for and since to talk about an action that began in the past and it continues to the present. As I told you with the timeline, the action started in the past and it continues to the future. We use for and since, okay? For, it indicates the period of time, the duration of the action, like for 2 months, for a year, for a long time, for an hour, for 3 hours. So the duration, when you're talking about the duration, you use for. Since indicates when the action began, like since yesterday, since last June, since last Monday, etc. Okay, this is the difference between for and since. Look at this timeline. You can find it also on your book, okay? We have the past here, present, future, okay? And here, the action started in the past, 2008. I've lived here for several years. As I said, the action started in the past and it continues to the present. Maybe it will continue in the future. صح? I've lived here since 2008. Okay? How do we form the present perfect, we have he, she, I, you, we, they. These are pronouns, subject. And with he and she, we use has. With he and she, we use has. And with the other ones, other pronouns, we use have. And then we have the verb past participle, studied English. This is the example you can see on your book. And then you continue the sentence using either for or since for 5 years, since 3rd grade, okay? With the negative, we have the same. He and she, we have hasn't. And with the other ones, we have haven't with the other pronouns. And we have the verb PP, received an email. This is the third form of the verb for 2 days since Tuesday. You can see these tables also on your book, page 50. Okay, let's see this exercise to know the difference. When do we use for and when do we use since? Complete the sentence with for or since, okay? Read it. If you see a duration, okay, you can write for. If you see a specific time, you write since, okay? So for the first one, Hamid has had the same TV 15 years. Which one are we going to use it? For and since. Pause the video, think about it, compare your answers when you finish with your friends to check, discuss if you have different answers to see which one is more convincing, okay? And now let's see the answers together. Since here we have a duration, 15 years, it's a long time. We're talking about duration, we used for the first sentence. In the second sentence, I've had my laptop since last June. It's they mentioned not a long time, they mentioned a specific time. That's why they used since. 3, we've worked on this project for a month. 4, my friends haven't visited me since my graduation. 5, we haven't used our car for a long time. 6, I've been drinking tea for years. 7, Tariq has worn glasses since the age of 7. 8, since when have you had that beautiful watch? This is a question, okay? For exercise B, work with the partner, okay? Make sentences about the invention. So you have to use this table to write sentences, write statements, okay? For example, here they have the table here. We have the invention and we have the date. Credit card, they were invented in 1951. And also here we have other inventions and other dates. So you have a choice to write many questions, many statements, okay? Here we have an example. People have had credit cards since 1951. Or you can say, using for about 60 years. Okay, you can use the specific time, or you can use with using since, or you can use for, like here, the example provided. Okay, pause the video, think about it, try to write as many statements as you can, share it with your class and with your friends. Here I provided some examples. I'm sure you written a lot of great sentences. People have eaten canned food since the early 1800s. People have worn wristwatches for over 100 years. People have had radios since 1901. People have used toothpaste for over 170 years. People have used electric light bulbs since 1879. People have made films since 1995. People have used paper clips since the 1890s. People have flown airplanes since 1903. People have used ballpoint pens for a long time, okay? share your statements with your friends. Maybe you have other than these, okay? And we have the last part of our grammar. We have questions with how long. How long have you played football? I think we used how long a lot in our pair work activity last class, صح? You created a lot of questions using how long. Have you played? Here we have the verb 3 and have. This is the present perfect. I've played football for 3 years. The answer can be using for or since I was 12. You can use for or since to write down questions, okay? Look at this exercise, exercise C. Have you used any of the inventions in exercise B? He wanted to look at exercise B, the table, look at the invention. And the question is, have you used them before? Or the inventions in page 48 and 49. So the question here he provided as an example, how long have you used them? Okay, these inventions. Ask and answer questions with a partner. So you have to create questions and create answers. Add other inventions. If you want to talk about other inventions, it's okay. You don't have to stick with the ones on we have in our book, okay? The example here we can see, do you have a credit card? Yes, I do. How long have you had it? I've had it for 2 years, or I've had it since I was 18. Student A, have you ever been on a plane? Yes, I have. I flew on a plane on my vacation, okay? I have a sample here. I'm sure you can create wonderful conversation. You can practice in front of your class. You can share it with your teacher. This is not a writing exercise. This is a speaking exercise. So you have to be in a conversation. Do you have a laptop? Yes, I do. How long have you had it? I've had it for 5 years. Do you have a car? Yes, I do. How long have you had it? Very easy. You just talking about inventions. I've had it since 2007. Have you ever been in a car accident? No, I haven't. 2, and carry on with other inventions. Do you have a credit card? Do you have a cell phone? And so on, okay? For your homework, I want you to do your workbook, page 118 and 119. If we want to remember what we covered in our lesson, we differentiated between the past tense and the present tense, okay? And also we used the present perfect with for and since. We differentiated how do we use for and how do we use since. Also, we learned how to form questions using how long. That's it for today. Thank you for listening, and inshallah I will see you next class.